Hi, I'm going to talk about ambiences, uh, why you would want to use them, kind of where you would want to use them, and also how I would go about making ambiences most of the time. Um, so I'll play a clip of this. It's a crappy whip, but what I want to talk about is how I use ambience to, well, not only like add an element to the song, but kind of add more space and fill in a lot of the emptiness. So here I have this ambient kind of pad. I think I have to turn grow speed on. There's this one. So you barely even notice it, kind of like when the song is playing, because it just sounds kind of like a reverb coming from some of the instruments in here, some of the sounds. But it adds a lot to your song. Just it fills in everything, and also here, how I used. I think it might have been. I'm lost now. Oh no, it was this one. Yeah. Um, I used this ambience. I put a grow speed on it, so it basically just automates the volume. So I turned it into like an element of the drop instead of just having the ambience kind of cut out. Oh. Like see how it's pulsing? That kind of adds to it with the drums and everything. Like it's rhythmic. It turns into a cool sound. And it adds to the background. Like without it, it would probably sound quite empty. Like it's already pretty empty for a drop. It's just a shitty hardstyle cake. And so with it already adds a lot. So how I go about making ambiences is typically the fastest way to do it, and kind of my cheat method to do it is to use Edison Blur, which is kind of like a weird reverb, and like I don't know, some kind of I'm not really sure what the effect is, but it sounds like reverb in the end. But it essentially it tries to blur all the harmonics of like a sample kind of together. Right, anything like a chord, like I might even just I'll do like a yeah, I fucking make like a shitty chord. Do some inversions. It's like a D minor 7th or 9th. Then I don't know, add just basically right now I'm making some kind of sample that's in a key. That's trash. Then like I don't know, this second part could go down. And now what I do is link it to a mixer channel and open up Edison. Obviously you can do some mixing beforehand, like whatever you want to mix in there, you can add you can already like if you know this isn't going to be like a bass sound, you could cut the lows, or I don't know, add some fancy effects. And then just record it with Edison. Only grab like a part of it because it's an example. And then on Edison, you'd go to this like drop, like raindrop symbol. And then here's like the blur menu. There's an impulse that just kind of changes it changes how it sounds. I don't really understand what it does. I usually keep like amount on max just because or else it's like a wet percent knob basically. Same with the mix one. And then just accept, and it basically turns into a pad. And so like the only issue with making ambiences like this is you'll get a lot of dissonance if you have like big fancy jazzy kind of chord progression, or melodies that are super dissonant, that then it might not make great ambiences. But as long as, let's say you're making like a dubstep track and your main like bass is an F, and dubstep is usually, it's like it kind of has like dissonant scales and stuff sometimes. You could just make a sound that only plays like F, and then basically turn it into like some kind of tonal drone. So you can still use that, even for tracks where melodies and like the structure might be a bit more dissonant for chord progressions and whatnot. But anyway, now you have an ambience, and you could keep going in Edison. Like there's a few other settings that are cool. I sometimes even I mess around with this the toothbrush here. It's a denoiser, but you can kind of get some interesting sounds, kind of broken sounds, just for sound design. First, you got to do a car noise profile, and then you just mess with this kind of EQ thing and the amount. Like you can get some really interesting resonances, and then I don't know, if you don't like the resonance that much, if it's too like sharp, you could just blur it out again. Might make it a bit softer. The EQ in Edison is also really like literally like you can just put like a wall down. There's and all the harmonics are just gone. Oh god. And now you have this sound. I'll drag it out to the playlist. And you could mess around with this. You could, now because it's a sample, you can basically like chop it up. You can turn it into some kind of rhythmic thing like I did with the drop here. Like I put just through a grow speed on there. You can also stretch it out, get some interesting artifacts. Pitch it. And then, I don't know, weird, crazy, add OTT like everyone does. And it doesn't have to be like on a sound that you make, just you can grab like literally any sample and throw it in there and put a blur on it and just see how it sounds. That's usually how I come up with interesting like background elements for songs. Yeah, that's about it.